Hey guys, this is Holistic Health Harry and Alkalized to Realized Talk Show with Aubrey and Musolf here today. So hello Aubrey, how are you?
Hi, good.
Excited to have you on because I know you're a very special person with a lot of knowledge and you're doing a lot of good work in the health field. So
Yeah,
I'm sure people are aware of you on Facebook. If they're not, this is a good opportunity to get aware. But how did you come about the position you find yourself in the health field and the health community today, and where you are?
yeah. So there are a couple of different avenues that I've taken, and I would say that the first was stepping into my role as a massage therapist. That was kind of like the catalyst for the continuation of everything. And so it's actually funny because as a child, my mother used to always, and she still does to this day, go and get massages all the time. And so she would sometimes take me to the studio with her, and I would sit, and wait. And one of the things that always I enjoyed about it was at the place we went to, they had a hot tub that you could go and sit in before your massage. So that's why I was like, Mom, take me with you every time she went, because I wanted to sit in a hot tub. So, as you do things with your parents, more and more you start to want to also take part in what they're doing. So I started to ask my mom if I could get massages. And I think that I was probably like 8 years old when I received my first professional massage. Yeah, so that's pretty, and I tend to forget about that sometimes, and it's kind of like not a normal thing that most kids participate in, especially because there wasn't any actual real like physical problem that I was feeling or anything other than just wanting to do what my mom did. So I went to see the female therapist at the office. It was like a husband and wife duo in the town that I grew up in. For my first massage as like an 8-year-old for like a half an hour, and I had to learn about, getting undressed and laying on the table, like on my belly with, not wearing a shirt, and just starting to understand like that level of what it's like to start to strip away and take down your walls and be vulnerable in a state like that at such a young age. And so after that, I just loved it. I think I can remember being a little bit uncomfortable that first experience, not really, not random, but some other woman besides my mom, touching my back and working on my muscles and stuff like that. But then I remember we continued getting massage therapy because my father was a teacher, and so in his health insurance we got chiropractic, and through chiropractic we actually were able to receive free massage.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was like this very, very unique process as a child growing up, being able to have access to this kind of health modality that not many people, even to this day in their 50s, 60s and beyond, have ever experienced, So going and getting free massages from the chiropractic office, and I remember I would start to massage my friends, like as a little kid. I have this one memory specifically of us being in, like we created a little fort in the backyard or whatever, and then I was like, well, I'll do massages. So I would get like the lotion from their bathroom, and I would have them like take their shirt off, and I would like massage their back. And then my mom was always asking me after dinner to like massage her shoulders, and she always said that I had magic hands. So it was like the buildup of this process was happening, and I wasn't even aware of it. I didn't know that this is what I was going to be going into. I actually went to university after school for like music industry management, and the universe was like, no, you're meant to be doing something else. So that was the first step. That was where it all kind of got put into place without my knowledge, like prior to my knowledge. And then as I started going into schooling outside of high school, it just wasn't working out. I was trying to go to university. I was trying to fit into the education system, and it just, I didn't fit. And so this woman that I knew from a very young age, probably like 10 years old maybe, she was the massage therapist at the chiropractic office that I had gone to all throughout my adolescence and growing up. So fast forwarding into about 2013, I was seeing her for a massage one day, and I had been working. I had kind of like dropped out of university, and I had just been working at the restaurant that I was working at since I was 14, and going kind of nowhere fast. And she was like, well, why don't you just go check out the school that I went to in Ann Arbor, Michigan, because I'm from a place called Adrian, so it's about 45 minutes away. And I was like, all right, I don't I don't really have anything else going on, so I might as well check it out. And I looked at it as an opportunity to use the money I could make from this kind of career, because I knew you could do pretty well as a massage therapist making money, you know, like charging $60 an hour or whatever, to be like a stepping stone in the journey of getting back into the music business and still wanting to go that route.
So you didn't commit fully. You weren't committed. You were half in it, half out. In other words, kind of.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You should have seen me in class. I would sleep.
Okay.
And that was also at a time in 2013 is around when I turned 21. So I was in massage therapy school, and then I started going out drinking with my friends, and then I would stay out late and then have to drive to school. It's really terrible. I would even sometimes show up drunk to school the next day. Like,
okay.
It was bad. And and it was funny too, because at the time it wasn't really my passion. So I never really had a good attitude about sitting in class and listening to lectures. I never did really well with that anyway. Like I said, trying to fit into university and that structural education system, 6 hours of lecture for me was too much. So it was really hard for me to pay attention, but it didn't matter, because I picked up on what I was doing with my hands so much easier and so much quicker than everyone else in my class. And I was just so comfortable with it. I had no resistance to it. And my kind of like trick to get myself through school, which I've used for a long time, is to study for my written tests like 5 minutes before the test. So I had all the information right in the top of my head. So I would do 100% on the test because it was right there off the top of my head, but
Wow.
I wasn't necessarily retaining that information. But if I tried to study, it also wouldn't.
That's a really good way, though, because you don't need to retain the information you learn in school. It's all kind of crap anyway. So that's a really good way of taking up your hard drive with things that are unimportant. So well done.
Exactly. I mean, some of the information was important, obviously, like when you talk about the pathology and the physiology and, you know, like studying the muscles and the bones and this and that. But a lot of it was just, you need to get a certain number on your test so that you can graduate, blah, 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 like it is. And so that's what I would do. And I would be getting 90s and 100s on my test just because I would take those few minutes before class to refresh, and everyone else is like, I studied for so many hours and I only got like a 60 or a 70, and I'm like, well, you got to work smarter, not harder. I'm lazy, so I'm gonna take as little time as I need to pass these tests. And I just had, you know, I was so familiar with massage at that point when I was in the school, that it was an interesting process to go through and learn all the different modalities that we covered. And the school that I went to specifically, we graduated with not only a certification in the general massage therapy field, but we also, if you passed the test for these other two therapies, you got certified in neuromuscular therapy and myofascial release therapy. So I came out of my schooling with 3 certifications as opposed to 1.
Oh, wow. Cool. Which the other two? Myofascial, and what was the other second one? Myofascial and
neuromuscular therapy.
Oh, right. Wow. These are very interesting things. So yeah, there's a 3-in-1 combo there. Very powerful. That's good.
Yeah. So, and it took us as therapists into a deeper level of massage therapy, as opposed to someone, if you just go to a spa and they do the Swedish relaxation, you know, long strokes, kind of kneading the tissue, into understanding the muscles, the attachments to the muscles, to the bones, where the trigger points lie, how to find those trigger points within the muscle. It's very in depth, and so the studying and the information that we had to learn was literally every single muscle, every single muscle attachment, which direction the fibers ran, how to access that muscle in the body. And so it was extremely, extremely thorough. And so that already put me at a higher level with what I'm doing as a body worker, as opposed to anyone else who went to like a 500-hour course class or whatever. So in that time, I took the schooling, and it was like September of 2013 to September of 2014. And during June of 2014, I was in the myofascial portion of my schooling. And it just so happened that I had this, it's so funny how it worked out, but I had this friend who was working at a phone store, and she just is extremely talkative. And this woman came in one day, and she was helping her with her phone, and she was telling her, well, I run this massage therapy business, and we're so busy, and we're short on staff, so we're turning, I turned like 17 clients away this week. And she just happened to say, like, well, my friend's going to school for that. And they were just like, well, can we have information? And she just, happened to give this woman my information. So I reached out to Annette, and like I said, I'm still in school at this point. I hadn't graduated yet. Like, I'm still in school. I hadn't even touched the neuromuscular therapy portion, which was like the final thing that we did. And so I'm not licensed, but at the time in Michigan, you didn't have to be licensed until that November of 2014. So I was technically like grandfathered in not having to take the national board exam, which was kind of like really nice. So, because I didn't, me and Tess, we're not the best of friends. So she reached out to me, and we connected, and I went in and I interviewed with her, and the interview was me giving her a massage. And she also went to the same school that I went to. So she knew the kind of training that I was getting. And she really, really, really felt strongly that I was good at what I was doing, and that as I continued to finish up with my training, that I would be an asset to her. So she hired me.
Sweet.
Like 2 days later, and I got to start working as a massage therapist while I was in school.
Wow. And just a random, you thought it's random. It's random, isn't it? It's a random situation.
Yeah, so random. It really was. It was just like, she went to the phone store, my friend worked at the phone store, they just talked, and then I had a job.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. So it continues to unfold from there. So I start working with this woman her name was Annette, and at this practice that she had, and it started to build that I became the best therapist that she had at the office. And so she was always booking all of her clients that she wanted to stop seeing with me. And, then I started learning about how to take initiative and go into the community and do what we called like outreaches, and starting to make connections and do networking. I would go to like chamber events where I would meet with other business owners and just put myself out there. It was in a city about 25 minutes from where I grew up. And so I didn't really know anyone. So I kind of had to put myself in the situation where I have to go and meet people. Otherwise, no one's going to know who I am, and no one's going to know that I'm here and doing work.
But at the same time, it would have been outside your comfort zone, but you would have been more confident, I presume, because you're speaking at something you're passionate about and you care a lot about and you're good at too. So you must have been walking up with lots of confidence. And, even though you were scared, don't get me wrong. I mean, just like if you're, let's say in a normal job, it's a bit different because you're not passionate about it. So you won't speak with that confidence, but whereas you're probably walking up with a lot more like certainty in your voice and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was really fun too. I've always been kind of an outgoing person, and it's easy for me to talk to people. So it wasn't hard for me. It was a little intimidating though. I can remember because, they're all dressed up in suits and I've always been kind of like that free spirit. I think at the time I had my head shaved partially and I had a bunch of piercings and so it was, and I would always dye my hair crazy colors, and so I was very alternative, trying to wiggle my way into this a little bit of a corporate environment, but everyone received me really well, so that wasn't an issue. And so I just started learning more and more about, you know, how to run a business. I ended up being kind of primarily her only therapist at a certain point in time, as well as filling in for her receptionist as well. And so I got kind of the full picture of how you would run a business in that way.
How old were you at this point when you were learning all this?
I think I was 21.
21, okay, cool.
21, 22, yeah, like 21, 22. And so fast forward a little bit more, my boss was also a yoga teacher from the yoga studio in that town. So it's like a very small town where there's not a lot of, there comes an influx of population in the summer because there are a lot of lakes, but in the winter everyone leaves, so it's like the population shifts. But so there's one massage studio, or maybe like two, and then there's one yoga studio, you know, so there's not much competition. So she had become a yoga teacher from this woman who has a studio called One Tribe Yoga. And I had met Carrie like a time or two, but it didn't really like click. It wasn't the right time for us to meet in the passing moments that we did, until I started, Annette introduced me to the Four Agreements.
Oh, the book.
And I read that book. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. Interesting. I love that book. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So that was kind of like my introduction into more of the deeper work of what it is to be healthy and what it is to be spiritual. And because at that point I was, you know, eating junk food, drinking alcohol with my friends, like just not really, I didn't really have a purpose. It was just kind of like, I'm just living to have fun and I don't really care about anything else. And then she gave me that book, The Four Agreements, and it was through Carrie that she was introduced to that book. So it was almost like Carrie was kind of like calling out to me in that way too, that she was drawing me into this town called Brooklyn, for us to be able to meet and work together and to continue to perpetuate my spiritual journey and my journey into health. And so the Four Agreements, meeting Carrie, I ended up like feeling a little bit like I was missing something, or I needed something else in my life. And I was interested kind of in yoga, but it wasn't really like the draw to me. And Carrie had put out this soul calling journey, as she called it. And so I was like, you know, that sounds kind of nice. And it was just another way for me to network. You know, there would be other women from the community that I could go and meet. And so I was like, I think that I'm going to participate in this. And it was a 6-week like program where every Thursday we would come to the yoga studio and we would participate in the yoga class that Carrie taught. And then for 2 hours after, we would sit in a circle and talk and go through different activities. And we were taught, like, that's where I learned like the prayer song Ho'oponopono, like, and yeah, so a lot of those different little pieces of medicine had started to creep in. And that completely was just like mind blowing. And I think the second yoga class that I attended, she's like a very intuitive, tuned in like person. And so and at the time I had, you know, multicolored hair, and she was like, oh, I'm getting a message like from the Rainbow Children, and like there's one in this room, like in the center of the room with like purple and pink hair, and it was obviously me. And then I just started like sobbing, you know, I'm just like crying, like this huge emotional release in this yoga class that I've never experienced before. And so that all, like that journey into the massage therapy and then coming into yoga, it turned into Carrie inviting me to take her teacher training at like a discounted rate. She like gave me a scholarship, and she was like, we'll worry about money later. I know you need to do this. And then I started tapping into the craniosacral therapy, and I started taking those courses, and everything just started kind of to unravel. And this was 2017. So like fast forward, I'm working in the massage therapy world, and then 2017, I take the yoga teacher training. I start taking the craniosacral and somatic emotional release classes. And then in the middle of 2017, I go for my 25-year-old, like, female, you have to go to the doctor and get a pap smear, like, appointment, right? So I go to the doctor, and I have this.
At this point, you're still under some kind of belief that the doctors were very powerful, I guess, and that medicine was, the best way to do things, or were you already?
Okay, so I wasn't vegan. I just started kind of tapping into like genotype dieting and blood type dieting, because we had a naturopath in the office. Like, the office that I worked at went from a massage therapy center to like a healing arts center. So we started bringing in biofeedback. We had a naturopath. We had like shamanism and Reiki and sound healing. It started to unfold into like this entire place of all of these different modalities. And I was like, oh, this is cool. So as I'm in this office, the naturopath is like, oh, blood type diet, blah, blah, blah. So I'm starting to understand the power of the diet. And I was seeing changes, and like I had stopped eating red meat. I was eating more like turkey than chicken, and cutting down on certain cheeses, because that's what the blood type diet like tells you, like you can have certain things but not certain things, and whatever. So in 2017, like when I went to that appointment, this was more because I still had insurance through my parents, and that was just, I was going to the dentist, I was going to the doctor if I was sick. I didn't really understand that there were other options. So I went for this checkup, and they did the pap smear, and my nurse calls me, or she tells me that I have like abnormal HPV cells in my cervix. And I just started thinking about that, and I'm like, okay, when I was 14 or 15, I had the vaccination in high school. Yeah. So like in high school, I was having vaccinations up until I was about 15 years old. Not by choice. I hated needles. It was like the worst experience every time. So I got the vaccination for the human papillomavirus and meningitis like at the same time. And so they're telling me I have these abnormal HPV cells, and I'm like, well, how the hell did they get there?
Yeah. How did they?
How did they get there? So what they did is they were like, well, we want you to go see a specialist outside of my like regular doctor for a further examination of these cells. So they sent me to like an obstetrician and a gynecologist to have what they call a colposcopy, where they go in and they like scrape cells out of your cervix to test them. So they did that. I went through with that. And I get a phone call one day, and the nurse calls me and says, well, you have these abnormal cells, and there are 4 levels to what these cells can be at. And it was like low something. I don't remember the words they used exactly. It was low, it was high, then it was precancerous, and then it was cancerous, because these are the cells that can turn into like cervical cancer. And I was at the high with these cells. And so she was like, well, what we're going to do is set you up an appointment, and we're going to put you in through a procedure where we're going to put you under a light anesthetic and give you Valium, and we're going to burn these cells out of your cervix. And I was like, whoa, hold up. That's like my most sacred area of my body. I don't think I'm okay with that. And it was funny because like in that phone call, she told me about the cells and the level that I was at with them, and I didn't really have a reaction to it. I was just like, okay, well, all right. But then when she started explaining the procedure, it was like a full body, like my stomach was in knots. I was crying. I was just like, there is no way that you're touching me. Like you're not coming into my body in that aggressive of like, no, there's no way. So I just told her, no, thank you. Like, I'm going to find something else.
Just whilst you're talking, I was thinking of, like, you know, napalm, the zero agent they used to use in America in the Vietnam War to spray everybody, and it killed everything, including trees and people and stuff. Just kind of reminds me of that. Just like, go for it. Just attack everything. Just kill everything.
Right. You can burn everything out. So nothing. And I'm like, but you could take, you know, like, and I'm thinking to myself, you could take away my ability to have kids. Like, you could. There are so many things that could go wrong. Like, this is not okay. And so, like I said, in my office that I was working at, we started to expand with different health modalities, and one of them being we had a detox specialist, and she had been initially doing like Rife treatments with the foot baths and stuff, but then it was that past May of 2017 that she and another woman from the office had gone down and took Dr. Morse's class.
Oh, cool. Dr. Morse.
And I was like, so that was my first initial thought was, I need to go talk to, her name was Dina. I need to go talk to Dina and see what I can do about this. She was helping someone detox cancer, and this woman was having amazing results with her. So I was like, I know something can be done, and it's not going to be you taking something so hot, burning my cells. No. So I go talk to Dina, and this was prior to me knowing that she went through this detoxification process with Dr. Morse. And so when I went to talk to her, that's when all of that information came in. That's when I learned about fruitarianism and detox and being frugivores and alkalinity and like the processes of the body and how the digestion, utilization, absorption, and elimination all come into play. And I was just like, like that's where that catalyst just like slingshotted me forward. And I was just like, oh my gosh, now I need to learn all of this stuff. And I just started getting so excited about it. And I started eating more fruit. I went vegan. It was just like, it was such an exciting process. And then I started learning about fasting. I started reading and researching on my own. So I was reading books by Arnold Ehret. I actually read the entirety of Dr. Morse's textbook online. I found it for free.
Cool.
So I just started doing all of this research for myself. And I was just like, there's no reason that we can't just live a life of pure health.
Yeah.
And I was just like, okay, that was it. So
and cheap stuff too, you know. It's not like expensive, all this stuff, is it? Like he's talking about. So
yeah, exactly. It was like, just eat fruit. Eat fruit whenever you want. Eat it as much as you like, and like just eat. Go raw. Like clean your body, clean your cells interstitially. Like do the work. You can do it. Anyone can do it. And and that it just like completely transformed my life and everything that I do, everything that, like, we talk about how diet is not just the things that you eat, and it's not. I don't watch television, like very rarely. I don't like listening to the radio. I don't like commercials. I don't use products with a lot of chemicals, like it just completely, it's like I have a brand new set of eyes, right? So everything I see, I'm looking at in a completely different light, and the choices that I'm making would go from, eating ramen and Doritos or whatever to like, I'm choosing vegan food, I'm choosing fruit, I'm choosing raw, I'm juicing, I'm making my own juice, I'm making my own recipes, I'm, like paying attention to everything that I'm bringing into my reality now. So that's long story short.
It's almost like you were kind of unplugging from the matrix for the longest time since you got into the Crano-Sacral, the yoga, the massage, and then all of a sudden the Dr. Morse's stuff, you skyrocketed to a fully blown start of an avalanche of unplugging from the matrix to where you find yourself now in this position, of call yourself a healer, someone that's doing a lot of good work and has such deep knowledge and helping a lot of people. So definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd like to ask you questions about So you currently have a massage practice. Is it crano-sacral therapy you teach? You not teach, you do that on people too? Is it all in one, or is it just at least separate modalities and you advertise, or is it working in, do you do them together with clients or?
Yeah, so this is something that I'm actually kind of working on at the moment. So I've worked at a lot of different places for other people, and then I decided I can't keep doing that. So that's when I actually, this summer I was working, I've been like in and out of trying to work, like renting a space from someone and then it not working out, or me just feeling too restricted, and then stepping into like, well, maybe I can just work and see clients and, you know, like have everything supplied for me, but you know, it's still just, it doesn't work for me to be under someone else's thumb.
Yeah.
So this summer I was working at like a corporate gym in the US in Michigan. And one day I went to work and I just got like bombarded with all of these things that I was doing wrong by my manager after coming in for a month and just like doing nothing but good work for them. And I was just like, you know what? I don't need this. So I literally just like, I walked out. I was like, I haven't even been here. You know, I was like, I'm sorry, but this isn't working out for me. And I just need to follow my own path. And that took me to moving out of the place that I was living into my car. I started traveling and working at different festivals. And yeah, so that ended up bringing me to Woodstock Fruit Festival in the US. And that's where I met Ronnie, who hosts the UK Fruit Fest. And we just like, that happened. So now I'm with him and we're in Scotland. And so I've been trying to transform my practice to work for me, as well as be able to reach as many people as I can, because something that I've been struggling with is just a matter of wanting to be able to see clients face to face, hands-on, doing the massage, doing the craniosacral therapy, and making it in the way that I feel like I'm being utilized to my fullest potential, as opposed to someone coming to me and saying, well, I just want to relax. Because you can go there, you can go anywhere and get a massage like that, right? So I want to be able to focus in on the things that I'm exceptionally good at and can help people with, and feel like I'm not wasting my time, wasting their time. And also be able to use my knowledge and expertise to educate people through building materials that, like, you write your books, right? So you're putting out a product that helps people with the information that you've got, and you're able to sustain yourself with like that form of like passive income or whatever it is. Right. So, and I'm that's what I'm like looking to work on for myself, is being able to do that. And what I find, it's kind of a struggle for me, only because I haven't been able to find that balance between being able to see clients in person and being able to put this material together and put it out, and in the way that people would actually respond to it and utilize it. So
sure, it's hard, but you're coming up though. You've got a lot of time. You're young, so this will like me. Everything's coming up slowly. Last year I made no money. I was just doing everything for free. Now I'm making a little bit, so I want to make a little bit more. And I'm ambitious like you. I don't want to work for other people, and I hate jobs. So you know, we'll get there. It's just that we've got trust in ourselves, right? We can do it. We'll definitely do it.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's just a matter of like being in the process of doing that. And Ronnie's been an amazing help. He's really good at putting together advertising and all of these things. So actually, like, we were in Glasgow for a month, and I was seeing clients. And that doesn't just happen, you know, like you don't just like go to another country and be like, okay, well, I want to do some work. So we put together advertising and got my name out there, and so I was seeing clients, and that was like amazing, you know. So it's a continual process, and something that I'm still focusing on doing is getting myself to a point where my vision is clear because I can do so many different things and I want to do so many different things that nothing gets done. You know?
I like that. Yeah, I know what you mean. Your mind is so crazy and powerful, and you just go. Well, I'm a bit like that too, scatty. Like, I'm like, oh, today I'm interested in this. Today I'm interested in this. You like focus, stay on one thing. Like,
exactly. And he always calls me out on that. He's like, you talk about wanting to do this. You talk about wanting to do this. He's like, we need to focus on one thing at a time. And I'm like, I know. So that's the process that I'm kind of going through right now, because I want to be able to serve more people, and I want to be able to feel like I'm being taken care of as well. So it's got to be that balance, because if I'm not being taken care of, then I can't help anyone, you know? So
exactly, mate, definitely. Well, what is for you the best reasons to do massage for someone? I can think of a lot of reasons for massage. I'm not an expert at it, and I haven't had one in a while, actually. It's been on my mind the past couple of months, so I need to pay that money to go and get it done, and I definitely will. It was transformational when I did. But what's your favorite reasons for either you doing it to other people, or their benefits they're coming back to tell you, or just reasons that you know of logically or emotionally in other people that makes them want to come back for more?
Yeah, absolutely. So my first argument is always the same thing for people, is that when you think about an infant and you have that baby, and if that baby is neglected and if that baby's not touched, it's going to die.
Yeah, actually, that's true. That's a provable, isn't it? Doesn't that happen in real life? Like, they really do die. Yeah.
So if we think about it, we are those babies. Our bodies have just gotten bigger, you know, and they've become a little more resilient. But the power of human touch, the power of touch between one person to another is literally, it can be like life or death, you know, like it is so important to have that connection. And so when I put it into perspective like that, for a lot of people, they're like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. And because we grow older, and you know, our touch from our parents or our friends or our family or whatever becomes more and more scarce. It can be so detrimental, and we don't realize that that's part of the problem.
That's a really good point. You know, touch is really important, and as we get older, we are conditioned less to it's okay to like hold your child's hand, for example, but when they're 15, 16, that doesn't become normal. And you know, it does. Why is that? Like, cultures, we lose I mean, apart from sexual, which is great, and that's a really important, powerful area for touch and a lot of other things, why is it that non-sexual touch is so looked down upon or not encouraged?
Well, I think that this is something that I was thinking about earlier, and I've thought about a lot, is in our society, it blows my mind that when we're born, we don't have clothes on, right? So we're born naked. We're born without these pieces of fabric that creates an immediate separation.
Oh yeah.
So we're immediately separate from each other. If we had our bodies exposed and we greeted each other, instant skin to skin. Like if you were naked, if I was naked, and we hugged, immediate skin on skin contact. But
I know that oxytocin as well. The oxytocin would go crazy, wouldn't it? Like hormones and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And so as babies, you know, we start to swaddle our kids in blankets. And then we hold them, you know, and I've been thinking about this more and more, and seeing more mothers who are doing skin to skin for like the first year of a child's life, and bringing that into the lifestyle more and more. But we have that huge separation, and that's just that ingrained thought process of like, well, you have to wear clothes, and you are taught in school you don't touch anyone else, like unless it's like shaking the hand, or you know, like no kissing on the cheek, no hugging, no touching of any kind. You keep your hands to yourself. Like I remember hearing those words all the time, keep your hands to yourself. You know, and so it's just like it becomes that like unspoken, like, I stay here, this is my body, and I don't let anyone into my bubble, and I don't go into anyone else's bubble unless that's a very clearly communicated intention. So we're taught that. We're taught not to touch, and it's just sad. It's really sad. It's so unnatural.
It really is. I was thinking as well for me, my mum's Argentinian. I'm British. My mum's Argentinian. I don't know if it's just the gene she's passed down to me, but I've noticed something about my personality. It's when I'm talking to strangers on the street, so I want to go approach a girl that I like or something, I always touch, even guys. It's nothing sexual at all sometimes. I just like to touch people. And I notice a lot in our culture, some girls get freaked out. Some people are testing you. But the point is that I just noticed in myself, I really do feel like genuine warmth and happiness when I touch. I've just on the arm or handshake someone or stuff. It makes me, it's my personality. And I think it's like for everybody, like you said, it's not just a personality thing. I think it's beyond that. I'm connected to myself and what makes me happy. And I'm unconsciously doing what's making me happy without thinking about it. And I think everyone that says they don't like to be touched, it's not really they don't, it's just part of conditioning. And like fear as well. Like, oh, fear, scared of someone. Like you said that. So if I'm scared of someone touching you, why would you be scared of like someone making you feel good? Because that's what it is, you know. So.
Yeah, exactly. And oh, I just had a thought, and then it totally like it disappeared. But oh no, I came back. So it's even interesting for me coming into the UK. Being an American, because I'm greeted by a lot of Ronnie's male relatives by a hug with a kiss to the cheek. And I'm not used to that. And so I even have a little resistance. And I'm like, why am I afraid of that? No, just welcome it. Love it. Like, just let it, you know, and it's not even like a kiss. It's just like you bring your cheeks together and you kiss outwardly, you know, but it's like, even in my culture in America, like we don't do that, you know? So it's like, I have to, and it feels really good. Like, it's always nice. I always give a hug whenever we're leaving and things of that nature when we're coming in. So it is just so funny that we're just like, don't touch me. Like,
yeah, definitely the power of touch is beyond amazing, and I think it goes beyond deeper to the chakras, the auras, I believe in auric fields, and you know, you're exchanging energies, and you exchange it anyway, even if you don't touch with Reiki and just being around them. But if you touch, there's like, I think there's like the fire system of the hands, I believe in Ayurveda, earth, fire, water, ground. So when you touch with your hands onto, like, and especially sexual touching, I mean, sexual touching is massive because you're already connected. But I mean, even between strangers, it's so powerful to do this, and yeah, it's got to be one right up there for me too. One of the huge reasons why massage, but it's not just that though, is it? Because you can touch without doing massage. Do you want to talk a little bit about some other powerful reasons what motivate you to get involved with massage, touch specifically, or crano-sacral?
The crano-sacral, yeah, absolutely. So I think I need to grab a phone charger really quick. Can we?
Yeah, sure.
Give me a moment?
Yeah,
okay.
No, we'll wait for you. Yeah, no worries.
Okay. Let me. Okay, I think we can figure this out.
Yeah, we don't want the phone to die on our interview. That would be unfortunate.
Yeah, no, that would be really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. This is gonna work. There we go. Now I'm getting some really nice sunlight.
Yeah.
Is it gonna mess everything up if I have to turn my phone horizontal?
Side on now. There we go. Yep.
Is that like, does it work or not?
There we go. That would be lovely. Lovely. I will say that it's playing up a little bit. It's playing up a little bit on sound. I don't know on your end. I don't know if you can hear me.
So benefits of the
1 second. It's playing up a little bit. The sound. It was playing up. Try to. Okay, now you're okay, I think. Come on.
Are we good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right, perfect. So let's see, the benefits of massage. Okay, so just thinking about it, I've been doing a little more research just so I can have these kind of because these are some of the things you learn, right, when you're in the schooling that they test you on, that I didn't necessarily 100% pay attention to. So I've been trying to refresh myself with it.
Yeah.
But it promotes like circulation of the blood because you're moving the tissue and you're inviting that flow. It helps people. What it really can do is activate that parasympathetic nervous system. So it turns off the fight or flight. And it invites you into that state of relaxation, which all of your processes of the body can start to take place. And a lot of times it's really funny because people's like stomachs will move, right? Like their bowels start to, like start talking or whatever. And so because they're in that state of relaxation, their digestive process starts going, you start to relax. It can reduce anxiety and stress. It helps people sleep. Obviously for the muscular side of it, like the tension and releasing the trigger points, are what most people refer to as the knots in their muscles. It's good for mobility and strength and muscle, like, what do I want to say? Like muscle tone. And there are so like the benefits are
endless, isn't
just
it?
infinite,
Yeah.
really.
That was really good knowledge. I just like to relate quickly. My first experience 2 years ago, I tapped into urine therapy. I'd sort of started to get healthy at this point, so I found maybe my benefits are a little different to other people's. But I remember walking out of that for the next few hours, and my vibration was buzzing. My energy was like through the roof. So I wasn't having like going to the toilet, having all that stuff. I was just, my energy was just like high, and I was like vibrating. I was like, whoa, where's this energy come from? This energy system. It lasted for a few days actually. Afterwards, I found really interesting. So it's such an amazing healing modality. And I also saw a post recently about a guy called Kaden Rip. I don't know if you know him, and he said that he does massage, and he said that it's more powerful than fasting. And I like it when people say things like that, because it's not that it's comparing, it's just bringing the benefits and the amazing wonders of massage into the world of our health community, which, if I'm being honest, I see a lot of people not talking enough about massage on my walls, on my newsfeed. I don't see a lot. I don't know about you. I don't see a lot of people talking about it. So.
No, most people like in the realm of self-healing and everything, that's what they're focused on. They're focused on the self-healing. They get so caught up in like, I have to do everything for myself and no one can help me. This is all just me.
Yeah.
And that's wonderful. You have to be responsible for your health, but you also have to know when to ask for help.
Yeah.
And so massage therapy and hands-on healing modalities are kind of like pushed to the side because it's not self-focused. Like you have to invite another person into your field to say, I can't do this alone. And we in this self-healing like realm that's going around with the fasting, the fruit diet, like going to the sauna, being alone, taking that time alone, all of that is so important, but we're forgetting the like basic human needs of community and connection to each other. And it almost becomes it, and I've experienced this in my own life, that I was getting so hell-bent on healing that I was like, well, I have to be alone forever. I have to go sit as a monk on a mountain, never talk to anyone. You know what I mean? It got to the point where it was that obsessive and like, and I forgot what it meant to actually like be a part of humanity and to connect with other people. And I was allowing my obsession with health to that level steer everyone else away from me. I wouldn't ask for help. I wasn't actually doing anything that was good for me. And so we lose sight of that, and we get to the point where we're starting to judge other people. We're looking at them and judging the food that they're eating. We're looking at them and judging the entertainment that they're participating in and the jobs that they're working in. And we forget that we're all the same on the inside, and we're all just looking for that love. We're all looking for that compassion. And that's what we need to give in order to receive. And so the significance of the massage therapy and of just asking someone else for help is just like something that I would love to bring back into this community that we have of of these amazing self-healers. And it's not, like I said, it's not saying that all of those things aren't important, because being responsible for your own health is important, but that also means asking for help and allowing others to come in and bring something to the table that you might not necessarily be able to do for yourself. Because I can do massage therapy, I can do craniosacral therapy, I can do yoga, I can do all those things for other people, but there's a limit to how much I can do for myself.
Yeah. That's so powerful. I love what that speech you gave. That's really good. Can I ask, well, this is my own personal curiosity too. I really think there's something powerful going on, not just with massage, but with the crano-sacral therapy. Am I wrong? Is it the one with your head? Is it specifically for the head?
It does work with the head, but so you have there's two parts to that word, craniosacral. So you have cranio, which refers to the cranium, and then sacral, which is the sacrum. And it actually works with what's called the craniosacral system, which is the system of the body that creates and circulates the cerebrospinal fluid that encases the entire skull all the way down to the sacrum and back.
Okay, like the microcosmic orbit, everything that Madhav Chia talks about in this. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, and this therapy is actually the thing that has completely transformed my practice as a massage therapist and the way that I look at how the body can heal itself.
Why is that? Why is it so transformational? I'm curious now.
Because, all right, so initially craniosacral therapy is an extremely light touch where I, as the therapist, have learned and I am taught to go somewhere on a person's body, and it's we compare it to like 5 grams of pressure, like in the US the weight of a nickel, a 5-cent piece. And we are basically taught to turn off the left side of our brain and feel past the breath, because that's a rhythm in the body, and feel past the pulse, because that's another rhythm of the body, for this craniosacral rhythm, which is being created by the craniosacral system with that cerebrospinal fluid moving throughout the body, like that constant up and down that it does that circular motion. And because of that, it almost gives a kind of wave or a rock to all of the bones in the body. And so I'm able to, like, say, touch my arm or touch the client's arm. I'm like holding my arm here, and feel for, and I can already feel it, feel for the movement of the bones, because we might think that everything is so static and it's just stuck still, but everything is constantly moving. It's always moving. And so the ulna and the radius in the arm here have an innate rock as they come inward toward the spine and outward away from the spine. And so it's always moving, and we tune into that rhythm.
I've heard the head does. The skull expands, doesn't it? The skull expands in the tracks.
Well, it's not that it necessarily expands. It's just that when you look at the skull and you see all of the different bones, you see those like little squiggly lines in between that separate like the frontal from the temporal, from the parietal, from the occiput, etc. Yeah. And those are called sutures, and that's where that fluid flows in between. And so there is space there. And so what happens is when we can tune into the head itself, and I'm tuning into like the frontal bone of someone's head, it can shift forward, it can shift back, it can go side to side, everything, it's always moving. Or if there's something wrong, it's not moving and things are lodged closer together. So the bones can create the obstruction of fluid, and we get pressure buildup and we get problems going on because things aren't flowing. It's like it's created a dam in a river, and it blocks the flow of the fluid, it blocks the flow of energy. You know, you've got the meridians all over the body, the lines of energy that flow, and these physical structures can create blockages, and then these energetic blockages can create physical blockages. You know, it marries together. So I'm able to tune into the body with that extremely light touch and find those structural
blockages?
Find structural blockages, and where the bones are like maybe moving too far to one side and not enough to the other. and invite them to realign themselves.
And how are you inviting them to realign? With your mind, or with your mind and hands, or both?
It's both. It's an intention of saying, like, okay, say I'm tuning into the sphenoid bone, which is the bone that sits behind the eyes, and I can feel that my sphenoid bone is moving to the right, and it's still moving to the right, and it wants to move to the right even more. And so I'm allowing it to go into the direction of ease, as we call it, as much as it wants to. Yeah, it's still going to the right. Good Lord. So now it's doing the turnaround and it's sliding back the other direction. And I can feel that there's resistance. So what I'm doing is I'm giving intention with my own mind, as well as just a gentle shift in the pressure of my hand. So I'm giving more pressure from the right finger as opposed to the left, to invite it to come this way even more.
Okay.
Until it finds its like release, and it'll give kind of like a signal to my hands that it's settled. There it goes. So now it's like, ooh, I can just like feel the difference. That it just figured itself out.
So we all have these imbalances between the stagnation of our skeleton muscles, and crano-sacral therapy unleashes the flow of the energy systems within the human body, right?
Absolutely. It's so incredible. And then it goes even further beyond that into what we call, what I referred to earlier as somato-emotional release, where we start to, as therapists, tune into the emotional body that the energy is like withheld within the physical. Because like our cells have memory, like the cellular memory, the tissue memory. And this was an interesting explanation that I read the other day. Was like, say someone comes into my office or whatever to see me and they hurt their knee. Now their knee is hurt. They like were walking down some stairs and something happened and they hurt their knee. And then we get deeper into the conversation and I find out that they hurt their knee walking down the stairs, leaving their divorce court. So they've got all of that emotion around that divorce that they just went through that's lingering in this physical problem with their knee, because it all just happened within that situation. And so we have these emotional issues that happen to us, these traumas, things that have happened in our lives that either we're aware of or things that we aren't aware of that we don't deal with, or it would be too overwhelming to deal with in that moment, because we're not taught how to deal with things as at a young age and growing up. Like that's not how we live. We experience something and we're like, oh well, just buck up, you got to keep moving forward, like, oh, your mom died, well, you've got 3 days and you have to come back to work, like there are so many things.
Everyone's mom dies. Why? I know what you mean. It's like,
right, exactly. Like we still have to push this, whatever. So so we have all of these things that happen to us consciously and unconsciously that don't get dealt with in the proper way, and so that memory becomes repressed. And it's not that it's not there. It's there. It's there. And the pain is there. The heartbreak is there. The grief is there. The whatever it is, the excitement, the joy, it doesn't necessarily have to be a negative experience, because we can do things that, have you ever like been somewhere and something is funny, but you're in a setting that you can't laugh?
Oh, sure. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that laugh has to go somewhere. That expression of joy has to go somewhere. So it's not just a negative experience, because I've experienced things in my own practice of going through the sessions myself that sometimes the emotional releases are me laughing. Sometimes it's me crying.
A lot of people report that with massage and these things, like, and fasting too. You just laugh. Instead of crying, you're laughing all of a sudden. You're like, what? I can't stop laughing. Like,
yeah. And there's, Ronnie and I were talking about this yesterday. Like there's a very fine line between pain and pleasure, Yeah.
So, great.
Yeah. So with the somato-emotional release, what we're trained to do as the therapist is it's kind of like a conversation with my inner knowing and the person's inner knowing of the fact that we have these things going on. And so basically what I do when a person is open to this kind of process and they're like, okay, I'm aware that emotions are repressed and they can come up as physical symptoms, and but I can't consciously figure out what it is, that I ask their body, like in my mind, and say, what is the point on your body of most significance to the process right now of healing for you that we need to bring awareness to? And it can come in as visual, or I can just be like drawn to that place on their body with my eyes, or something comes to me as a message saying like, this is the place that I need to be brought into awareness. So like, for example, I had a client a couple of weeks ago, and we were able to sit and talk quite a bit. And she divulged a lot of information about her past, her childhood, like the things that she had been through, her family life. And I knew that it was her heart that was hurting, like that heart center, that space. I feel a little low with this. Sorry.
All right. Yeah.
So it was her heart that was needing attention. Mm-hmm. And because of the conversation that we had, I knew that her father had passed away and her sister had passed away. And so these were names that would trigger an emotional release. Like when I went through it myself, my grandmother is someone who passed away, who is very, very influential in my life. And so using those verbal cues, as well as the gentle hands-on pressure of the craniosacral technique, we're able to allow the body to, if the mind is able to step out of the way and say like, okay, we're going to want to re-experience whatever it is that's in here that's causing problems, that's causing the stagnation, that's causing me from not being able to move forward, to come back up, bear witness to it so that it can actually leave. Because that's something that's also like really important, is that the person on the table is in control of how much they let go. Yeah. So if they're not ready, if they're afraid, if their mind won't stop and get out of their own way, and I've experienced it in my own self, like when I first went through it, my consciousness literally like took a step out of my body. Like I had an out-of-body experience, and I was watching myself go through these upheavals of emotions and like the physical, like literal convulsions of my body and tears and everything. And then as my body would relax, we released a little bit, my consciousness would come back in and I could explain everything that happened. Then it would like step back out again because the wave of emotion would come back. That's what happens. So with that light touch, that awareness that the person is ready to let go, and they're like, I'm tired of letting whatever this is be in my way, so let's just get through it. It's just stepping into the other side of fear. And we all have those fears of like, well, it's the unknown, or I don't want to feel pain again, so I'm just going to continue to hold myself off. But once we can tap into that knowing that the body knows what it needs to do to heal itself, and it's not going to put you through anything that it can't handle. It might not be enjoyable, in the moment, but to take away the judgment of thinking, well, this is going to hurt, or this is going to be bad, or this is, and just realizing that this energy just needs to be released, that we can allow that process to happen. So
yeah, it's such a beautiful thing, the way you described it as well. I didn't know much about Crano-Sacral, although I knew it was very powerful. So thank you for explaining all that. And I 100% agree with you. I can tell you've got deep mastery at this, which is beautiful. Can I ask, so you're in Scotland at the moment. How do you have your website? Do you have, how do you advertise, and do you want to advertise? Do you want to tell us, touch base here so people can find you if they're in America, UK, how to get hold of you?
Yeah, I do have a website. So I haven't paid for like a domain yet, so it's a little silly, but it's musolfmethod.wixsite, wixsite.com /musolfmethod. Yeah,
okay, so
I do have that.
Aubrey Musolf.wix.com.
No, so Musolf method, like my last name and then the word method.
Sorry, Musolf method.
.wixsite.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay. .wixsite.com/Musolf method. Like I said, I haven't paid for a domain yet. So it's just that free domain that they've created. So that's my website, and you can go there and be able to book a call with me. And then we can go forward through. But I also have a Facebook Musolf method, like facebook.com/Musolf method, and that is like my professional
cool. That's a page on Facebook, isn't it?
So.
That's a page on Facebook, a group page, right?
Yes. Yeah, like you can like the page, I think, or it's like a business page or whatever.
Definitely. Are you on YouTube as well, or any other?
Yes, I am on YouTube. Just my name, Aubrey Musolf.
Cool. What kind of things do you have on YouTube then? Is it explaining the benefits or your services?
Yeah, so I'm building up my YouTube page. I do have a few things. I've got a couple of demonstrative videos. So I do something really unique to my practice is that I can do intraoral massage, which I can take my hand, my fingers, and do massage from the inside of the mouth, as well as mouth work for craniosacral therapy. And then I have a demonstration of doing ocular massage, like massaging the muscles around the eye with a cotton swab. Cool. So I've got videos like that. I've also got a couple of videos as like an introduction to who I am and kind of my practice. And I think I did like a video about a few tips of dealing with anxiety because my sister asked me to make one, and a video about like how to stretch your neck because a friend was asking me. So it's like a little yoga video. Just I'm still working on my content, and that's something that Ronnie and he's been helping me with, bringing my ideas to fruition with content for my video channel. So.
Nice. And no doubt with all the amazing things you're doing and the progression of your learning curve, you're just going to keep growing and growing. I mean, in terms of clients, in terms of your mastery of this subject, in terms of more and more people coming, because as you get better, you're going to get more and more people, and word of mouth's going to grow. So yeah, I look forward to watching your journey as we grow. I'm glad we did this interview at this time because it's going to be different in 2-5 years to see you as a different person evolved. It's going to be very cool. Before we go though, can I ask you quickly to, if we haven't covered bases of anything, please, this is your opportunity to say it, but also like it's just one last message for the people, anyone watching that might be reticent about massage, spending the money, or Crano-Sacral, or just be, not wanting to do that. Why should they, if you want?
Yeah, so one thing I will say is that a really good point that you made is like about the money. So you're paying for the level of experience that you're going to get. So most people are like, oh, well, I only pay like $35 for a massage and this and that. And it's like, okay, well, you're going to get a $35 massage then.
Yeah.
If you want someone who knows what they're doing, who's good at what they're doing, then you're going to put the money up for that person who potentially charges $150, $200 an hour because they are the expert. They are the ones who are rooted in their practice and who bring results. So if you're thinking of being stingy and spending $60, $35 on the appointment that you're having with that therapist, then you have to expect that that's the kind of experience you're going to be getting. When you're buying fruit and you're buying conventional fruit as opposed to buying organic fruit, the organic fruit's going to taste better. It costs more. It's going to taste better, but you want to save money, so you're going to buy the conventional fruit, and it's not going to be the same experience, right? Or you want to go and you want to have something done with your car and you're just going to pay the bare minimum, then that's all you're going to get. But if you upgrade a little bit, spend a little more money, it's like everything in life. Everything that's worthwhile is going to cost more, but it's an investment in your health. It's an investment in your body, and it's not something that wouldn't be coming back to you. Because if you this was something I was actually listening to earlier in a podcast or something, was that if you're not taking the time to take care of yourself, if you're not investing in yourself, then you're going to start paying for it in other ways. You're going to lose out on time with your friends and family. You're going to lose out on your health. You're going to lose out, like if your health starts deteriorating, you're going to not do as well in work. You're going to start losing money. Like it's a continual process of losing if you won't just invest that little bit extra money into taking care of yourself. So
Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's really powerful. Yeah, you can live longer, you can have more energy, and it's because people can't see it. You can't see the end of
Mhm.
things, though. So yeah, that's really powerful. And thanks for saying that. That's really good. One quick question for me personally: is there any
Yeah.
podcasts that people can listen to for massage and cranial state that you recommend? Like any person to listen to on YouTube that's famous for these things, like really
Mm.
the best one, or just the ones where it's like, whoa, good information. Like,
Honestly, I don't know, but I'm gonna say that it's gonna be me, so be on the lookout for that.
we'll check out yours definitely for sure. I'm definitely going to check out. I'm going to add you on YouTube as soon as I get off this for sure. And I hope everyone else watching here does too and gets the massage. So yeah, thank you, Aubrey, for being here with us today. And I wish you all the best. And I look forward to checking in with you next year, next couple of years, and maybe even getting a massage because I'm in the UK too. So I need to do it. So yeah,
Yeah, that would be great.
thank you for serving and being. And thanks everyone for watching.